Hi everybody, Dr. Pingle here. We're going to be talking about LiDAR terrain models, so DTMs, digital terrain models that are created using LiDAR data. Now, acquiring this is pretty easy. Most of the digital terrain models that come out of LiDAR data have been folded into the national map in one way or another. So you'll typically find these under either the 1 meter DEM, which you can see here. So that's a fairly high resolution DEM. Or a 1/9 arcsecond DEM, which is essentially about a 3 meter DEM. So these two combined are going to be your sort of high resolution ground data. Now, in future lessons, we'll talk a little bit about how you make those. In this part, I'm really only interested in having you download them and visualize them. So you can download this stuff in exactly the same way as you would download any other elevation data set. If you are interested in downloading it via a state agency like the Virginia LiDAR data, you can browse in here. So I'll do that. And we'll just pick a section of Blacksburg. So this is the drill field. So we'll just download that for now. In this case, you've got a couple of different download URLs. So you've got a ZLAS URL, which would take you to the original point cloud data. And you also have this DEM URL, which is going to take you to the DEM data. If you click on this, there's actually, you'll notice that if you look carefully at the URL here, it's saying, it's giving you a file name, but that's not here. If you click on this, in other words, what's going to happen is it's going to take you to a directory, and you're going to need to download the data that you're after. So you can search for this, Control-C, Control-F to find and paste, and there's this data. Now, all you have to do to download this is just to click on this, and it'll start the download. The second one here, so this is an AirDOS Imagine file. The second one here is an XML file, so this is metadata. And to download that one, if you just click on it, you're going to get something that looks like that. And so what you'll need to do is do save as, and then you can save it to your directory, which I've already done. So we're just going to go ahead and visualize this. So this is the temp directory that I've downloaded the data to, and this is the digital terrain model that I'm interested in. Remember that many people will use DEM and DTM, the digital elevation model and digital terrain model, interchangeably. So just be aware of that usage. If you drag that in here, you'll see that the tile come in. And we just have a very simple hypsometric tinting here with black being low and white being high. You can obviously go in and change that label to anything you want. I am particularly partial to the spectrum visualization, but you can choose whatever you want. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is visualize this, or at least do a couple of different other visualizations. Since we're just doing some quick ones, a nice way to do this is with the raster functions rather than with the tools. The difference between the raster functions and tools are that raster functions are going to calculate the stuff in memory, which means it's going to go a lot faster and you're not going to keep things when you're done with it. So if we wanted to do something like a hillshade, for instance, we can just click on the hillshade, choose which one we want to do. We're going to do a traditional, keep all of these things the same, and just hit create new layer. So this process is a lot faster, and as long as you've got enough memory to handle it, it works really well. So we'll just uncheck that so we don't get those edges on here. So this is the hillshade version of this. If you look closely, you can see a lot of kind of strange effects in here. This is because what we're doing is we're on this LiDAR image. We've digitally removed all of the buildings and all of the vegetation, and we're left with just the ground surface. So sometimes this is called a bare earth model. When we do that, obviously there's no LiDAR returns underneath of the buildings, and so we have to interpolate the ground surface at those points. So if you look at this stuff, you'll see that there are buildings all underneath here, and when you have a large building like this, essentially it makes it very difficult to figure out where that ground should be, and so you see these sort of artifacts from the interpolation process underneath. So how else can we look at this? Well, we've done a hill shade. We can also do a multi-directional hill shade. So just changing this from traditional to multi-directional, and we can create a new layer there. And we can do the same thing with slope. So we can do a slope shaded version of this. Selecting our layer, we might apply a little bit of vertical exaggeration here and get a look at it. And obviously this is reversed, so we can go in here and make an edit here and reverse the color scheme. Okay. I'm pretty partial to slope shading. This doesn't look great, and part of the reason that it doesn't look great is because there are all of these interpolated sections. If we take a look at this here, there we go. We can swipe underneath. So we just needed to make sure that we were on the explore mode here, and then the swipe tool will work just fine. All right. So you can see that especially where there are these buildings, so here's one here, the ground looks pretty distorted in those areas, and that's pretty normal for a DTM. The bigger the building, the more complex the building, the more those artifacts are going to creep into the DTM. So there's your quick introduction to DTM downloading and visualization within ArcGIS Pro. In the next one, we'll take a look at the digital surface model. Thanks for listening. Bye.